Just sit, comfortably and relax yourself.
Yeah.
And as we sit comfortably, so we also want to ensure or that we we cultivate or we have a mind which is also at peace and at rest. So the just important to think, to understand that how to have a very mind which is positive and which is very peaceful, calm, and how that is beneficial for oneself. It's the we need to recognize that the benefit or the importance of having within us a state of mind which is positive, which is wholesome, and the because if you have that, if we within us, if you have that state of mind, kind of positive state of mind, then as a result of that, we will we will find the happiness, peace, and happiness that we seek, and we can find the satisfaction or the happiness. So, however, if we lose that, this peaceful and a positive state of mind within ourselves, and then that is really a great disadvantage for us, in the sense that then we at the same time we will also lose the peace and happiness in our life. So there's one thing which is common to all of us, whether we the social status is high or low. So the common thing is that we all wish our or want our life to be very happy, enjoy lasting, finding a lasting happiness and satisfaction. So we want to live life like a happy life. So therefore we have to recognize that one of the very important condition, important factor for living a happy life is this, to give a bit of reflections on these the state of minds within ourselves. So this one is important. Such inner reflection is important not only for enjoying a lasting peace and happiness in one's own life, but also just as we all, in some way, we all also wish or want to extend some benefit to others, other beings, other fellow beings. So even for for the sake of the others, to benefiting other beings. So also such inner reflection is very important. So we are talking about cultivating a positive state of mind. Now, that really primarily refers to the kind-heartedness or kind or the warm heartedness which we show, which we extend to other beings. Now, just as not only we wish ourselves to find more happiness, but we also want to be a good person, and good natured persons. And if we investigate, if you check, what is that the single quality factor which defined to call someone as we can call as a good person, a good natured persons. And so when we say good natured person is somebody who who is very much admirables, and very much always been very kind-hearted to others. So when we look at that, so the quality is really related to someone who have a kind mind, or some sort of the altruistic mental attitudes towards others. So this kind of a person with such a altruistic attitudes, if who have trying to maintain that kind of attitude, then we can be really be be sure that that person would do would do everything to or won't cause any harm to anything to prevent causing any harm to other beings. So therefore, in that itself, it's something very we have to say with somebody who work or who consciously make an effort to trying to causing harm to other, and that itself is a great admirable qualities. So we can be sure, at least if that person, of course, it would be great, be even add more to the quality of that person if that, on top of preventing harm, a person go and actually benefit others. So, therefore, the kind-heartedness or the warm-heartedness which we cultivate, which we within ourselves. So that is the what makes the person's very good nature, and also that can be a true source of happiness for oneself and for others.
Lo kaje rin nyembo do jori no magawa je tindi ge zo den ge lo ji yu a tindi nga do sha de chen da ta ni chi nyo le zo se na mo de chi nyo se le pa to ja se na ta de de ni so na ni le de so lo mo cha ji ye lo ni de lo nga ro ni lo chi ge xie ba la de ne mo je ma ga wo yu ma nie wo yu de mo je ma la ga wo nie wo de ma pe de de ne lo su bo de no ni nyo de le lo de de lo ga xie de ge chi ge xie bi do ge de ne ro nie wo de yu de to mo ga che ro de lo de da de ne de ma no se ne ba xi ge se na ma de ma se ga se na ma de ne to ge ta ne de so so na de ne go ba che lo xia de ne che na ya pe ya na lo ti ni go pa ra so de ni ne ne da lo zombie show so de ni ne bi show so ma ro a che da de ne go ba de con di che na de pe shi chong che ra ya da so de de.
So as we, reflect on our mental attitudes, within ourselves, so we can recognize that there are, there are two types. Obviously, there's a very a positive mental attitude and the negative mental attitudes, and the difference, the main difference is that the positive mental attitude. So we need to, in order to recognize this such mental attitude within ourselves, so we need to always watch and also investigate, observe and investigate our the effect of the various mental attitudes. So as we do this, and so we can see there's on the one hand there's a type of the state of mind or the mental attitudes which we cultivate, and we can notice that there's a trend notice the trend of that mental attitude of having the effect of actually pleasing, or bringing joys, bringing joys in the other's mind, and bringing one's, attracting more friends. So in a sense, it's getting the connecting one closer to to other beings. And however, on the other hand, so there is a negative. You can see a mental state of mind which are very negative. In a sense, there's if we observe, then we can say it has the trend of distending, those who are close to one, even more further distant, and also have the effect result of hurting or to bring unhappiness in the minds of others. So therefore it has the effects that where you of causing harm to others, and so so which in a way is also in turn also is bringing causing harm to one's own life, damaging one's own life. So therefore we can that if we examine, so we can see that really we can recognize that the true enemy of our life or something which really damage or destroy our life or our happiness and things that we love. So that is we can see that it's this negative state of mind. So therefore when we gain such understanding, such knowledge, then it somehow become we can look on the one hand, and there's a positive on the other hand, on the negative state of mind, and then it we can see it very clear that which since we want all the good result, all the happiness in our life, so therefore it is very clear that we should be what we need to, when we talk about think of practicing Dharma, then it clear in Dharma what to practice is to enhance and developing that positive state of mind, and whereas to what to abandon or what to get rid of is those negative states of mind.
Sheba, Zombie should Mombi should do Shara Jenny, Nembi should roll, they'll see do it touch. Then another get over a don't help me.
So essentially, so we need to, whether when we engage in meditation practice or in our the everyday life. So what we need to apply is this more mindfulness and awareness. So the because with this, so how if you talk in terms of in the meditation practice, how the mindfulness help. So it is to help one to direct, to be able to direct the mind on the right objects. So you're not, and in another word, to be able to not remembering the object of the meditation practice. So and then however in the everyday life, again then it's important in the sense that mindfulness is important in the sense that how it is a mindfulness. If you have a mindfulness, then we'll be able to remember or to remind ourselves, continuously remind ourselves, what is something which is positive and something which is negatives. So, like in terms of our mental state, as we were saying, how in our mental state, so there are state of mind which, normally which has the which represents, which seems to be very gentle, and there's gentleness there in it, is the way the aspect of the mind. So similarly, with that mental attitude, so we as our personality, what we should, whether our actions which we create, perform through, whether it's through three doors, like body, speech, and mind. So that would be also, that kind of gentleness, softness would be also reflected in those actions. So all become very positive, very beneficial. So whereas how if we have a mind which is more, has a aspect of more like a very coarse, more like a rough, in a sense, like more very such as like very like hostiles, then with that mind, then it would also, our actions of the three doors, body, speech, and mind, would also become like a hostile and something very rough, and such action has the effect of bringing, of harming to oneself and to others. So therefore, how to, it's in an everyday life, if you have applied the mindfulness, then we can remember, we can easily recall to ourselves, of this, the difference between these two states of mind, and also so through this, through mindfulness, then we will be able to create the right actions. So in this way, now the other important thing, the factor is the awareness or alertness, which we will talk about. So that is to, while even in terms of the meditation practice, so while we, with the mindfulness, and after we placed our mind on the objects, so we need to, at the same time, we need to rely on, or need to apply the awareness, so that which has the function, awareness has the function of just the checking checking the mind, whether how the mind is actually sitting on the object, or checking there is any interruption or any fault occurs in the meditation or not. So therefore, with the awareness, then we will be able to prevent such an obstacle to meditation, or if any arise, then we will able to remedy it. So in this way, even in everyday life, this is also important in order to keep our knowledge, of what is what is actually happening in our mind and in our actions, to continuously always like the knowing, like discriminating, discriminating our actions. So in this way, it is we can able to recognize if any like negative actions occurs, then we can recognize and so accordingly remedying it.
Monday with Duma day, David Dial Mashi, the wrong settle at Tibata, so the machines tell you up. Thing other Sarah Pega. Young other Diasera, Shalupan, she thinks. Diasera, Cholo, Diagos, and non shot, and the job Mona. Why we are, Modaya we are. The leaves and other things, the Pajan, Chelo Majan, not this, not this, and not in Noya. On the devil, Duma said, shake jail, the leaves and no ashing on thin road. Then man, no cell around the Tata. Why are they in the mental? In the Jena, Yapu, that's the South on Tetunia.
So in meditation practice, so we our primary focus is on is within ourselves, and because we wanted to cultivate more virtuous state of mind, and or to become more we want to become more like a habituated ourselves to the more virtuous or a positive state of mind. So and now the reason why we practice this, we look inside, with the we look inside ourselves, is because if we examine, then in fact the true cause or the source of what we like the experience, such as even the happiness that which we want, and the sufferings that we do not want. So it's really lies within ourselves. So so that's why we in the meditation practice we focus inside, and to understand that, and whereas how the outside of meditation practice, in the how we normally in our normal perceptions, then it's quite where the happiness or the suffering comes about, derives from. It's quite different. We always we think something the causes is something always externals, to do with the we will always recognize or believe that the happiness or the pleasure that we seek, this is all to something related to with like making money or something to our own like appearance, or having a more wealth, more house, and so forth. And at the same time, even the perception of the various kind of misery and suffering or the difficulty, the hardship that we face in our life, even we see these are all we relate the cause of all this to something external, conditions. So, but however, in fact, they are not just, if we examine, they are not just the external, the contingent upon the external circumstances, external conditions. So, in fact, the more important is the cause of our happiness or that we seek, and the suffering that which we do not want. So, is really lying within oneself, and that's why we meditate, practice, and in order to increase, bring about more happiness and more peace, then we have to develop or we have to become more familiar, our mental attitude, our actions with the positive way of thinking and doing things.
There's a lot of carry. Motella Kuna, she is a Kuna Mati. Can tell it just a moon and Kuna to buy Member, the other. As I Kuna the Canadian, you said, Kuna Molchi, Tagadelo, Shelley card change this and Kale, Kuna Manjari. She's a dear, Roger Gigi. Roger Maggie says Anthony Kuna on that channel. Yes, Annie, all mother have to bowl to be garden, couldn't let any side color son mother. Couldn't the apple mass, the son told the children son told her. There you couldn't much you know, there's my yard road. The ring under the Nanga Tenichi. Yes, now, couldn't apple mass, said she Yamata, couldn't apple mass, Yamata, the mother, Salam, Madia. Couldn't apple mass, said getting you what the gun on the cell, Madame Mashatas. The little son doesn't do me. You know, didn't never singing. Metamari, they love me. Maro son tattoo. Mother saying, can you remember Calicon? Under your mass. Say colors on my show. Then they think, get it to Mokunda Sagal, sell Madesha as a leg one day. Say colors on my daughter. Kuno Yabu Mass or Kuno Madia, Tavano Mashalova. didn't want to. Sandup take in the men children Sandup. I'm very yard. None of Nella. Sandup to have the yard. Then say, today by Shina, I have worked. Any apple.
So just need to be in everyday life. So we need to be more thoughtful or mindful of our own, our own thoughts and actions, and the true practice is, and then to realize, just with this mindfulness, and then to always recognizing that, when you the cultivates certain mental attitude, then you recognize, you recognize exactly what kind of state of mind you thought that you cultivate within yourself, and then to be able to say to yourself that this thought is negative, is destructive, and is very very cruel, very very rude. Whereas then you can recognize when the sudden thought, when they arise, should be able to say to yourself, this is very positive and something very wholesome, or something very worthy, and so in this way, it help us to recognize if like a certain, such as like, if for example, if such like a very destructive like a mental attitude, such as like, and when anger arises, then we will be able to recognize that it arises, and not only that, to say to ourselves that it is something very very destructive and very harmful. So at least in fact, simply recognizing that, simply saying that to ourselves, it has the actually quite becomes quite effective in terms of calming down or lessening the anger. So however, instead of this, even when it arises, and then we don't think of we're not even aware of or recognize this anger or as that mind as something very harmful, something destructive. So rather we normally instead of that, we focusing on the anger, what the anger is doing to us and to us, rather thinking on that with our mind is more preoccupied on the various on the object, where the person who caused the anger, or the various conditions that cause the anger, and then as we think on that, those conditions, those objects which because of which we generate anger, as we think on that, so it's like it's simply our anger will simply increase. It's like adding more fuel in the fire. So it will blaze more. The flame of anger increase more, and so therefore it gets worse. So in this way, it's important to rather than when a negative state of mind, such as anger, arises, so rather than our mind is simply pondering on the object of that which caused the anger. So rather, if we direct the mind on the anger which is within ourselves, which arises within ourselves, and then just with the focus with our focus inward, and then trying to the focusing inward, and then trying to say to ourselves that yes, this is a mind. If now one had to can be very harmful. And so, whatever, if you express that, if you do any actions which are out of the influence of such mind, so it can be something very harmful. So therefore, to be able to, if you say that, recognize that, and you can notice that it has an immediate effect, even to of lessening the intensity of anger. So in overall, so there's we can see the all the school of religions. So all they put an emphasis on cultivating something, some sort of inner qualities. So their focus is on developing quality within ourselves, not so much on the material or the external development. So so this is so in this kind of if you like, in this like a spiritual training or the education. So where the emphasis, we can see there's an emphasis on the internal, developing the internal qualities. So now obviously this is based on the fact that it is believed that what we seek as a human being, what we seek in our life, which is the happiness, and what we want to avoid is the sufferings. So which is all the from the point of view of all the spiritual teachings. So it's believe that it is more important cause is something internal, not depend on the externals. Then of course, if we we should also consider how in our approach to the spiritual practice or the Dharma practice, then we, even though of course, which is also based on our fundamental wish or a desire for happiness and wanting to avoid sufferings. So then if we investigate what are those fundamental those happiness and the sufferings, then if you investigate, then like, even though we can in the teaching, even though we hear about the suffering of the other species like the animals or even the hell realms and all that, but in reality those sufferings of the other species don't really affect us. They're not our sufferings, or so it's more when we talk of happiness and the sufferings, so we are really talking about what that experience of happiness and suffering in this very immediate life, and something directly related to one's own self. That so therefore we from this perspective, so when we talk about the spiritual practice, so we're talking about this practice which would help us to which shows us the right course for that the happiness, the immediate happiness that we seek, and to cause to avoid the effective way to avoiding the suffering that which we do not want. So that is that is very clear. In fact, it's very clear. And of course, there are in our approach of the even in the Dharma, so we could also have an approach where our interest is not just limited to this immediate, like in this current time frame or life time that of our happiness and the sufferings, but we could also have a long term, even as far as even to the future life, in terms of our own happiness and sufferings, and so so we can have that practice. We can engage in the spiritual practice, so which is to create that cause for the future life, happiness, or to avoid suffering in the future. So regardless of that, so it is very obvious, very clear that the purpose of our spiritual practice so is something directly related to our own what we seek in happiness in our life, which is happiness, and to avoid and suffering which we do not want. Loss. So, so broadly speaking, so the spiritual practice, doesn't matter what tradition of the religion you follow, but so there is the purpose. Really, there's one purpose, so which is to produce a very a good nature or good manner human being, and so that's what the even so. Therefore, even when we also have to think that when we apply follow the spiritual practice, so we have to think of see the spiritual practice as a way to transform ourselves into a better persons, into a good nature persons, and that is the very important purpose, the purpose of the practice, and so therefore, if we see that the reason why, so there is an emphasis in spiritual practice. There's an emphasis on cultivating love and compassion for other beings, and so because such attitude, cultivation of love and compassion, so this is a very a true means of transforming, of making that person into something, into a very a good person, good-hearted person. So as we're saying, how if someone has a state of mind which is filled with love and compassion, then and then that person will always be extending benefit to others. So then there's no won't be such person won't be a cause of harm or giving suffering to other beings. And so if it is as a spiritual, in our spiritual practice, if it is important to extend benefit to other and whereas to prevent harm or causing harm to others, then we need to ask ourselves, what is the most effective means of achieving that. So the most effective approach is to first to think of or consider of one's own situations. So where in which you got to think about what one wishes and what one do not wish. So therefore, based on that one's desire for wish for finding happiness and not wanting suffering. Based on that, so one should cultivate the attitudes towards other beings.
They are really total mandado, they come at Tibet. The one go to the Toto Yabanga, Tibet. Some shelter the Abu, you are. You know that Jesse Kale. Kale said that Jembeshek with Jesse Kale said, "Don't say the chief." Yes, and tired by it. Cheers and tired by the same. Get him with the letter. That's on the knee, they don't some to you out there. Something that's on the tone. Eh, I will. Jella, she might easy tight to leave. They tell us on you, just don't tell them. Younger said, Haji said, Shin Jung was said, Yahweh, one Yahweh, something to our children. You know, now, look at them.
So it's good to reflect on the fact that how oneself and all other beings are same in terms of wanting happiness and not wanting but not wanting sufferings, and also we all are same in terms of the having the right having the right to achieve to happiness and to not to avoiding sufferings, and so this is such reflecting on this reality and to actually to the point that one actually right in the bottom of one's heart, if one could feel, or one could feel and believe that this is the true, that how we all are same in wanting happiness and not want suffering and having the same right. So it's a tremendous, it's very effective in terms of even just to enhancing more peace and tranquility, and through this to cultivating love and compassion for all beings. So so on the basis of these such reflections, then we have to ask, if we ask ourselves, why, ask ourselves whether the life of oneself, or or the life of all other beings, which one is more value, or more precious. Then in terms, when we ask this question, then we can realize that when we talk about our own life, so we're talking about just one single being. So whereas when we talk about the others, life of other beings, so we're talking about countless or infinite number of beings. So therefore it is very become obvious to one that it is the cherishing or the benefiting the other beings are so therefore is a more significance, more importance, and on the basis of that, so we can cultivate to the altruistic mental attitudes of or thought of benefiting other beings.
That's on the thing,
and this kind of the altruism or the intention to benefit other beings, that which we can cultivate within ourselves through these kind of reflections, then we also becomes very unbiased, to that it will be extended, will be extended to all these the sentient living beings without any discriminations. Yeah. Yes. So I thought of going over the text, but now there's not much time left. However, maybe there's a room for a question. If anyone has a question. A question? Yeah. Need a bit of time to think about. Yeah.
It's related. I was at your teachings, Geshe Doga Drol last Sunday, which of course was about patience, which you suggest is the opposite of anger. And I came away with the understanding that, I grew up suppressing my anger, and then I learnt to start feeling it. And I suppose I came away thinking, I think I'm better now at feeling my anger. And I think I've always been quite careful at not expressing it inappropriately, although at times,
Yeah.
it's hard. But I came away with the feeling that it's important for me to feel as though I can express. If I'm feeling the anger, it might mean that there's something I need to express appropriately. And it might even be just to express to myself. And I might need to go and express something to another. I'm just wondering whether that is a correct understanding or an okay understanding.
여기 네 공조기 님보 세바 된단 줄와 공조기 님보 세바 가서 뭐만 가서 디 코스 제마게 다디 공조단 세바니디 독조로 레스 벤주 지지 아니 남주 모란게 다 지단 그란게 도와 롭종낭 제외나 다 공조들 랑와이나 아니 공조디 랑와 소소 냐교야마 치로 땡으로 세줘와 된대기 잡종 숙치무 요레스 아니 매우기 다 소바 공도야 검수서마다 공조 다 밀마네오 다 소소지 공조 사와이나 디 공조 왕도 총의 바조 너바게 제조와 안지 디데 전에 야고 민도선에 가고 소소 냐공에서는 차고도 되는 냐와이나 야 강행시티도 공조 삼 공조 냐되와이나 로아 마냐와 치로 떼어바이나 야 강행시티도 사디 디
저는 가는 대게 않고 계속 제가 거 마시고 근데 냐는 제가 거기 마시야 제가 거세 아니라 근저게 소도 대야 마시고 대야 마시면 실 말아 내제 정말 이면 저 제가 대라서
no
라서데 계속 되게 내지 이게 하고
in that the course, you did the course, right?
On the Sunday.
Yeah, on Sunday, yeah. So there was one, we talked about one type of patient called patient of remaining like a neutral or remaining the like unagitated, or like a non-retaliations. We talk about that, and so the we need to what we when we talk about the practice of patience, so we're not practicing if we like you're talking about the expressing the anger. So however, if you hold that the sense of like a resentment, and then that go against the practice of patience.
내가 근저다 근저지 그런게 다 군스세요. 거두시 그래서 다 저렇게 되가 과마 대들로네. 나 근저사네 근저 잔자다 근저 나 걔들아 근저인데 가디나 걸 이래마신데나 너무 내게라 될 근스세. 다 대야 말했어. 그래서 과야 말이 됐다. 근저나디 고내를 용으로 내가 근저사는 근저 걔는 맞도 하시는데 가디는 걸 내마시나 그래라 걸 지에 문제 하시는 가디 걸 내가 지금 먼저 가시는지 된다 군수사이다. 나 때문에 뒤슈 되게 그러나 봐. 그렇게 계잖아 얘기하래.
And in that course we also talked about the like a big grudge, grudge or the resentment. So which is a more like a developed or a more deeper, form of anger or hatred, right? So so therefore we when we say we should not, we should suppress anger or we should get rid of anger. So we also have to get rid of that, that the resentment of that grudge as well. And with that, then even if it's not expressed, externally, but deep down, one always one have not forgiven, in a sense, to the other persons that who cause harm, and also so deep down you wish the other person to, you feel good when other persons suffer, and whereas you feel bad if they seems to be very they're enjoying. So that's something the need to overcome that.
가셔고 제가 거세에 공유 말라 제네라 그놈만 마셔 공유 말라 제 신내바제 내제 마셔 되는 가셔 제가 거세가 제가 거세가 대대다 내게 시도 깨는 제가 공개되가 내제 정말 예문 주비세네 그 근로나 제 노선은 소소 예문 주가 되바 제가 거세 나 대면 근로 사제 팔라 마서 제 가이만 안 되는데 나 대주시래 right that's it right when there's na ga ma de a khana di bona so ma la that da bo de khana di bona de la ja khe ma no ta ke de ni le ma do java go se de ke java go ke no ma shen lo
so we need to be the clear in terms of the when what does mean when mean by when we have to be patient with the like the perpetrator or with somebody who cause harm, and so the patient just when you receive some harm, and if you simply prevent or stop yourself from just reacting, verbally saying something bad to that person or physically doing something harmful to the person, doesn't necessarily mean that you are practicing patience, right? So therefore, but in fact, if you practice patience, so then more means that you remain in that circumstance, when somebody is very provoking you or doing, causing you something, doing harmful, so you practice the patient, like the patient of like one of the patients is remaining unagitated. You're not affected by that. So when you're not affected by the agitated, your mind not agitated or affected by the harm that you receive from others. And so therefore, when we practice patience, if you truly practice patience, then it must pacify. It must overcome the angers. So I mean, generally people do say that, you know, when somebody don't react, you know, then they immediately say he's very, you know, we call that person as being very patient. But you know, if you check, not necessarily that can be patient. You know, if and it, you know.
Mal Drol Kar tene man yu me tene je tene no ba te kale khom ji ya in ra so su sha che tene ja so no te thor ne che so chu ne ge so no ma te ma ra so le ge no ma so ro pi so su sha tene le ra tene ka ya ma re tene lo jo ya ya sa ge tene yo si ge ro mo lo ji te yo si ge 네 여자가 예식을 내 그처럼 먹으려다 나온다고 그런 거거든요. 나 그런만 빠션 된다고 말했어. 그래서 봐 세시 나서는 제대로 내내 있잖아. 근데 그런 사람은 나는 뭐 가다 저거 좀 보시네. 이게 파 너지 바자리 쉬면 되잖아. 그런 내가 봐 저거 단단하네. 뭘 쉬어도 하더니 이거도 아니네. 되게 이거 그래서 뭘 카테 잡게 소소 말 카데 잡아 로비존 로 수샤트 네 된리지 뭐 가야 말해 저는 맞아는 된리지야 된리 선은 또니 선은 저가 되네 그래서 야셔처럼 명태가 너무 많이 내 말이야 이거 선 도시 된리지 와야 돼
So the you know there are the you know if we look into the anger when we you know when it arises, when we generate anger, then we can see it gives us some sort of impetus for us to undertake, you know, or any action or to do something to defeat our enemies, you know, to give really to face situations. So so therefore, you know, by the you know there are some other who you know who believe that this is in order to win over the enemy, you need to really to increase the anger. You know, you need to you know, to not necessarily it is something bad, you know, whereas if you suppress the anger or if you weaken the anger, then you won't face, you won't challenge, you know. So how anger, how, you know, even if normally if somebody is very, even if somebody physically very weak, but when you have a person had a strong anger, then, you know, give a more boost more even physical energies to fight with the others, to be win over the enemies. So so there is the what we have to see. I mean, on one way, when we can see that the anger has, it appears as if the anger has some sort of quality of observing one's, you know, self-interest. You know, as if some protecting one's own interest, and looks like it's something, you know, serving one's purpose in a way, on one way, and probably that's because of that. There, some people advise that you you need that, and it's a part of the of winning over the enemies.
No kunra di jiwa de shi never do no that Sunday logic right Sati toje then Semo go there na shadow qua no marriage. So there go then qua you Jantan site you want to same never you marwa. Then there's that actually still lawyer she then never the bar never change never do it on your marriage. No, that couldn't do that. She never should know this. They lost a day you got that. Can't show the tobacco as red, no, you said it.
So the outcome of the anger is really something very harmful to oneself and to others. And so yes, so it is true that the anger has the capacity to cause damage, to destroy other beings and to defeat others enemies and so forth. So now the question is whether by the overcoming or winning over the external enemies or external cause of one's harm or sufferings, whether we will be able to question whether you'll be able to overcome your obstacle in your life or cause of your sufferings. And so in this regard, so the like the great the Indian master like Shantideva, so if you recall, who said that if like that if you if you have to walk if there's a like a ground which is filled with all the thorn, and then if you have to walk over, so the there's no way that you can find enough like a ladder or something to cover the whole ground. So but however, if you find something to cover your own feet, so that would be equivalent of covering the whole ground, and so that's why the it's not really in long run, in true sense. No. So in true sense, if the real enemy, the real force of destruction is within oneself, which is the anger. So if you just destroy that, then everything will be all the other external cause of the harm will be also be destroyed, and it's like all the other enemies will be also defeated. Yes. So also, in terms of the conquering over the outer enemies, it, even if it doesn't help if you conquer one enemy, then it just there will be simply increase. There will be more enemy will come, and so like we can, if you observe how on a larger scale, how when a certain particular country they wage a war against other country, and then how that can spread to other country, many country, and how it become very difficult to resolve the problem in a long futures. So so therefore the like the sacred the Shantideva says, so the defeating the ones the one enemy which is one's own, the anger within one, so is equivalent of defeating all the enemies, and so therefore there is the best means is to, rather than relying on the anger to defeat the enemy, so we have to rely on the love and compassions for other beings, and how how through this one can really conquer other, or to lessen the enemies, external enemies. Be other, whereas on the other hand, with the anger, then it will, if we're trying to challenge, to defeat the enemy, so it simply multiplies. Okay, so we stop the teaching here and maybe do some meditation together. So I'm not sure whether the answer was to your question was sufficient enough, but the question was very good one. Yeah, thank you for that. So we're going to do just a short breathing meditation. So just please make yourself comfortable, and just check your postures right, and then to gently overcome all the distracting thought, and so that your mind fully rest within yourself, and then after the mind is rested inward, and then we begin the meditations by simply focusing the mind on the inhaling and exhaling of the breath. So thank you, and you all have paid a great attention to the teaching. So, when at the time of teachings, so the when there is some sort of from the listener's point of view, listener's side, on your part, when you show a great interest in the teachings and you pay attention, so that gives me some sort of joy, so that's which I benefit from you. And then at the same time, you probably if you pay attention and you really take sincerely think on the meaning, and then through this, then perhaps you also find some sort of joy and peace. So that probably you derive from me. So it's a benefit for both way. For when we do this, spend time together in such teaching together. Okay. Thank you, and maybe it's lunchtime. Thank you.
Dedication on page 7.